how to put English on the basketball.
Good evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you're watching this. Welcome to a new episode of With the English Pod / YouTube video with me, Sam, and Glenn, who will be talking about, well, I'm hoping the start's going to be a nice little rant from Glenn and then talking about the NBA as a whole. But we've got to start off with the Western Conference and the Lakers going out and losing to Denver. So straight away, let's get straight into it. I want to hear.
Not only losing, we got swept. I think I predicted Denver in 6. I wasn't expecting us to lose 4-0.
No.
I would at least, at a minimum, said 4-1. But credit to the Denver Nuggets, they were the better team in every game. They could. The whole series was quite tight.
Mm-hmm.
It got to like the last quarter every game, and that's where Denver showed their depth and probably their endurance. I said on previous episodes, I sort of was watching or paying attention to Denver. I wish I had, because I felt firsthand how actually good they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their roster is incredible. If Joker's having a bad night, Murray drags them. If Murray's having a bad time, Jokic is MVP. If they're both having a bad time, they then have Aaron Gordon to pick it up, KCP, Bruce Brown, and Michael Porter Jr. Let's also not forget this is a team that's been put together for quite some time. I think Mike Malone's been there 8 years, if I'm not mistaken. And that sort of told in the end. And I think the Lakers were on their last legs. Game 4, LeBron put in a monster effort first half, but you could tell that second half he was just completely gassed out. And I don't know what more you can do when sometimes you defend Jokic and he literally throws up in it like a circus shot from anywhere, and it just goes in.
Mm-hmm.
He was well deserved Western Conference Finals MVP. Obviously, that's a new award, which I'm not sure should be an award, but hey ho, here we are. And yeah, congrats to them, and they're in the finals now, the first ever finals. We go fishing, and hopefully we'll build for next year. I did think it was unfortunate for Denver, and I don't think LeBron meant it intentionally, but he sort of made comments or hinting at possible retirement. He's got a lot to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally that distracts the media from talking about Lakers getting swept to LeBron fought through injury. What's he going to do next? And I think there's a bit of honesty towards it, because he is 38. It's not like he's 33 saying this.
Yeah.
He's put his body on the line for 2 seasons for us because of the bad trades we made, the lack of form we've had. He had to drag us to basically like 11th place last year, and we've had to play playoff basketball since February. So yeah, a bit of honesty in it, but I do think once he's had a couple of months break, maybe had surgery, he's going to be chomping at the bit again. But there'll be some pressure on the front office to create a roster where he can be a quieter second option,
Mm-hmm.
and how his minutes managed, barring any injuries. Because we know what AD's like with the injury list. The last few years have been a case of fit for first 20 games, out for the next 30, fit for the last. There's a big chunk of the middle of the season where we're not fully healthy. But it'll be interesting to see how we bring back. Lakers fans are very reactive. D'Lo has a bad game. Suddenly, let's get Kyrie. I'll just pull it out there. I'm a Laker fan that does not want that to happen.
Okay.
We should have learned from our mistakes of trying to create a team of 3 superstars. I'm not saying Kyrie is similar to Westbrook, but I'm more of a fan of depth. And and we got a young core that we could improve over the years. Max Christie, I think, could have a breakout sophomore season if given more minutes. And we got this, a 17th first round draft pick this season. Maybe we could make use of that. But yeah, well done to the Nuggets. I believe they'll win it all. I think this is their year to do it. Because if they don't do it this year, I don't know what their players are on for contracts next season. But what it's like, Sam, in a one-off season, your whole roster can change. And you can miss that window very quickly. So
Yeah,
I do have to win it. I think Joker does deserve it. He's just been incredible these playoffs, and all the MVP talk sort of forgotten about now.
Yeah, indeed. I think he used it as probably fuel and fire to go ahead and play like he did. He definitely played much better in the postseason, I feel, than he did in the regular season, which was tough because he did have a good regular season. He's a very good player, but I just felt like, and maybe because I was watching the games a little bit more, but like obviously I watched the games against the Sixers and I watched a few of the earlier games when Denver were on TV, but he never looked defensively like a solid player, but it looks like he played a lot better defensively in the series. I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron... Go on.
I was going to say they had the luxury of sort of going slower towards the end because they had such a big lead on top seed, and Memphis were playing around with second spot with the Kings. That they had that luxury, and I guess it was all in their plan to slow things down for Jokic and get him fresh and ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, that could be. You do notice that. You see it in all sports. Teams start to towards the season when they know there's stuff going on, like playoffs or whatever it is, and obviously football, you got Champions League or whatever. They start to use rotations. But yeah, I think with Denver, they're a good complete team. Like you say, a coach that's been it's very rare you find a coach in the NBA stay for several years now. It used to be quite common, but it's obviously been, you look at Milwaukee's looking for a new coach, Sixers looking for a new coach. Rockets have, oh, that's my golf clubs. Rockets have just obviously got a new coach. OKC and some of the others have only got coaches in the last couple of years. There's been a massive turnover in sort of obviously.
Well, you look at the sackings recently. Nick Nurse won a ring with Raptors a few years back. Like you just mentioned, Bucks, they won it 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Ime Udoka. I know he got sacked for different reasons, but I do think it was an overreaction because of some backlash on social media, and then PR teams get involved, and suddenly it's make a big decision because we need to please a few people when they just got to the finals. I was going to mention Doc Rivers, but what have you done for me lately for Doc Rivers? He hasn't really.
No, sore subject still, but yeah. So I think there's just far too many sort of quick decisions being made with coaches that have won stuff, and yeah. So the fact that Denver have stuck with it, when they have been a top 2 seed, 3 seed, when you're a top 2 or 3 seed, I know top 4 because you get the home court, but for me, the top 2 or 3, you got potential for 2 home court series, so that's when the expectations really do ramp up. Rather than as a 4 seed, sometimes you might only get 1 round. When you're 1 to 3, there's more chance, obviously, a second round being held at home. Obviously, if you win your first round, but there's more expectation, and they stuck with him. And like you say, the core of the team, you can't think of, they haven't put in someone major that's changed it. Gordon, Murray, and Jokic have been together for a couple of seasons. So when they've been, and I know Murray's been injured and things like that, but and obviously Gordon came over a couple of years ago from the Bulls, but was it the Bulls?
Bulls?
No, I'm getting. I get confused with Levine because of the dunk contest. I always think back to that dunk contest. But yeah, obviously,
Gordon's still salty about that.
I am. I'm salty for him. Obviously, I've got Space Jam.
Yeah, to be fair, I've watched that. I've watched that contest about 4 times now because it's the best one to be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, Gordon got robbed. He did get robbed.
He did. So yeah, sorry. Obviously, from the Magic, I get confused. I had a
Yeah.
moment there. So yeah, since then they've obviously built that team together. So I think that's a real good sort of solid foundation. And obviously they've had pieces through, different things. But they have, you still got your core 3 or 4 that you're going to always play with. When you've got that, you are solid. And the Bucks have been the same really with Middleton, Holiday, and Giannis. I know it didn't quite work out for him.
But even Michael Porter Jr.'s worked on his defense. He was known for being all offense and pretty ineffective defensively, but now he's sort of upped his game. So I just think it's clicking for them. And like you say, they've got the right pieces, and I just think now's their time.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's another player that's been with the team for a couple of years. So you don't go, they've kept it, and it's great that they've obviously, as a player that they've drafted and worked with, and obviously he's done really well again with the Nuggets. So yeah, that organization definitely deserved the recognition that they've got for beating the Lakers. Still got the Eastern Conference going, so I still
Yeah,
think
who do you think they're facing in the finals?
it's going to be the Heat. I think the way that the series has gone,
Please be the Heat. Please be.
it will be. I think the way the series has gone is that it's well. I think again, I don't think we all know they live and die by the three of the Celtics, and they did die by the 3 games, and then lived on from the 3. And a bit of offensive rebounding. Bam wasn't as good as he normally is, and even though I'm 5'6.5", I'm very much like Shaq. Big man. It's important.
You're 5'6.5", Sam.
And a half, yeah.
Mate, if we go out and play, I'm gonna give you the too small.
You've seen me in real life. I'm not massive, but yeah. Anyway,
I don't remember you being 5'6", to be honest.
No, but anyway, I am not if I've got Jordans on, but yeah. So even though I'm not that big, I do like the big man, and I do look up for the big man. I'm very much loved watching 90s basketball. I got into basketball through the 90s, so obviously I love the old school stuff. And Bam's just got to be a bit more aggressive. You can't allow Williams. Williams is a great sort of gritty player. You can't allow Williams and Horford's to get rebounds over you. You can't allow. You're gonna let them shoot the 3, but you can't allow them once they've made one to then continue. And there was times where Williams and Horford were open still after making them. Williams isn't always going to get you 14 points. I know it doesn't sound a lot, but that 14 points is a difference. He normally he's going to give you single digits. When he's getting double digits, then
I think for the size Rob Williams is, I think he's quite soft. And if Bam goes at him,
yeah, and he should be, but Bam's not exactly the most aggressive. He's hit and miss with his aggression. So I just think Heat will just turn it back on again, grab a few more rebounds, defend the 3 a little bit better. They still played well in the first half, and maybe because they're up by 6, I think at half, they probably just thought we're going to sweep this. We're at home, and they didn't. Celtics might take Game 5 tonight, but for me, it's going to be 4-2 or 4-1. It's not going to go 7.
But they're missing Gabe Vincent.
Gabe Vincent, yeah, I saw that this morning.
Best career. Who would have thought from early in the season that Gabe Vincent would be a big miss in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, but this is the Heat thing, right? The Heat culture. They've got a player.
And look at another franchise that's held on to their coach.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's it. I mean, he's probably one of the longest serving, other than Pop.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, you look at it that this is a player that's played in G League, has come in and done really well for the Miami Heat.
What do they always say though? Hard work beats talent, doesn't it?
It does, and I think he spent a couple of years on the Kings G League team, and then he's going to Miami, and he's been in Miami for a couple of years, but mainly been their G team and G League team. And I do think with the NBA and the way it works, some people do peak. He's mid-20s. You see it in soccer, football, where you have our team Southampton, Ricky Lambert, peaked at 26, 27. scored loads of goals in the second highest division and scored loads of goals in top division at 29-30. So you do see it, Jamie.
But that does come with having the right fit as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, so it is. I'm not saying he's a superstar, and the guys I've mentioned, you could argue Vardy maybe, but not necessarily. And NFL players, like, they spend 4 years in college, so they get a little bit more. Baseball players, hockey players play in minor leagues, and they don't really again play in the major leagues until
Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
Who was talking about Caleb Martin when he was at Charlotte?
No. Mate,
I wouldn't. Again.
Yes, if you said to me at the start of the season, I'd have been like, I wouldn't have even thought about mentioning these guys' names. But that's the Heat culture.
I never even heard of Max Strus. I sound like bloody Shaq now. I don't know his name, but I didn't know who Max Strus was.
No, same. I mean, the thing with him though is he's obviously played at different teams. When you get moved around a little bit more in the G League, he's played. I think has he been with two? I thought he's been with two teams, but he might.
I have no idea.
I know, yeah, but I know it was. But
he'd have been a classic. Who he played for?
Yes, but he definitely played for the Bulls G League team. I remember seeing him, but yeah, so he and I want to say someone else, but yeah, we'll find out. Did he? Yeah, maybe it was the Summer League I'm thinking of, but anyway. It was a couple of years ago because I remember I still love Summer League, so I watched Summer League because that's what you do when you get used to tanking. So yeah, I think the Heat go through Heat culture. We're talking about players here that I'll load up. I am going to load up and see who he played for. Because I'm adamant he's played for a couple of teams. But yeah, we're talking about players here where we don't know a lot about them because they've come in. That's just the culture. So absolutely fair play to them. Okay,
it's better for trolling Celtics fans that
yeah,
a gentleman's sweep hopefully against an 8 seed with undrafted players.
Yeah, agreed. Here we go. I'm on his Wikipedia. He played for. I knew it. He was in the. Ironic as well. Ironic. Celtics. It was a Celtic Summer League. So
wow.
Yeah. So Celtic Summer League. So yeah. Anyway, let's not go too long. So yeah, the Miami Heat are going to win in 5 or 6. I wouldn't be surprised if Celtics win tonight, but Heat definitely wrap it up.
Well, I really hope they just hurry up and do it because my life feels better when Celtics are not playing basketball in the playoffs.
Yes, and mine. We both agree on that. So, yeah, and then we're just waiting.
Do you think if the Sixers went through, they could have beaten this Heat team?
Yeah, I think so. I think we match up well. The pick and roll would have worked better. The Celtics stopped the pick and roll. Coaching's obviously better on the Miami side, but the players are better. There's more talent from. I know there's more talent from the Celtics, but the pick and roll would work a lot easier. They set the Heat can't defend it as well as the Celtics can. Celtics had our number in the regular season.
Well, like you said, Celtics are living by one way to play, aren't they? Out shooting the opposition with threes. And if they don't score over 40%, then they pretty much lost the game. Because some of the threes they take are ridiculous, like fully contested. But it's like as soon as they get the ball on the perimeter, shoot.
Yeah, 100%, and that's it, and they'll do that. Whereas you see the Heat, they always pick the right shot. So yeah, I think so. But we're still waiting, and now it's waiting on. The biggest things at the moment is who's going to coach. No coaches really have been announced. I know you initially want to count, with the Rockets, but there's been, the Bucks, Sixers are still looking. Two major teams, what they're going to do. Harden situation. I don't think anyone. The Bucks aren't going to lose anyone in free agency. Really, I don't think Middleton and that will go. I think but they might make a trade. Knicks are trying to make a big trade, so they're waiting to see what happens with the head coaching hires. So that's probably going to be the thing over the next couple of days and weeks, and then the draft will come up. Obviously, the NBA Finals, and seeing the draft prospects, which we'll have to do an episode on. And you'll probably have to watch a lot of college basketball. Because you didn't watch any of March Madness, did you?
No, I don't. No, I
don't. So yeah,
I do watch the full draft, but I just have no idea. Apart from the few first picks, I I have no idea who anyone
Oh
is.
yeah, I'm not necessarily claiming to know every second round player, but yeah, it's definitely more interesting when you've. I love watching the March Madness stuff, so I get a bit of a feel. But yeah, I can't see this the Celtics winning this, and I think that could then lead to them maybe wanting a coaching change. I don't know. I don't think they necessarily would, but you could.
Yeah, well, they just offered him a 4-year contract, haven't they? Not
Oh,
that that means anything
no, I didn't know.
in sports, but
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't check that. I don't read.
again, I think they make an overreaction with Imi Udoka, and then Joe Mazzulla takes over a team that have been to the finals and has a good regular season, and then they give him a 4-year contract without him having any real test of the playoffs. And people argue that he played with his food against the Hawks. The Sixers went to 7 games, and I almost feel like they never won that series. The Sixers lost that series.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had the chance to win that in Game 6, and you fumbled it basically. And Game 7 is, you know, history. Probably still fresh in your mind, but history. And then they get into the Heat series, and if anything, the Heat have looked. This is the strongest the Heat have looked.
Yeah, exactly. It
And
is.
who would have said that after them knocking out the first seed Bucks?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the only positive for me is going to see who the new head coach is, and then I've heard NBA TV bringing out a documentary about our 2001 playoff run. I think they're calling it something like Everything But the Chip, because we had the Defensive Player of the Year, the Sixth Man of the Year, and the MVP that year. So,
Is that
and
your
head
only
coach of the year.
playoff run since '76?
Since 83 we won it all. 84 we went back. We did a few 80s, and then yes, Barkley first round exit. Barkley didn't get past the first round, didn't give him enough players. So no, it's not. It's our first proper player, and obviously I don't really count it beating the Bulls in 2008, 9, when Derrick Rose went down and Noah. But yeah, so no, I don't. We got lucky.
So next time we do this, hopefully we're going to be talking about a Heat versus
Denver.
Denver Nuggets finals.
Mm.
If it's a Celtics Nuggets finals, I'm not sure I want to talk about any previews.
No, we won't. We'll just talk about draft and head coaches and free agents.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty to talk about, that's for sure.
Yeah, or it could be the Knicks. One thing I didn't touch on too much. Knicks. There's a lot of rumors they won't get Embiid. I've had a few Knicks fans saying about Embiid, but they're trying to make a big move. So Knicks are definitely looking at as a team. I think they are one piece away from being a legit team, and they could take over. The Sixers or something like that. If
But you've got to give up to get something.
You do, but if you make the right move, you can do it. And Sixers, if you could be in trouble if Harden walks and they don't get a decent free agent, mid-level free agent, and they can convince for a year or something like that. So they can replace them as a third seed with the right moves. So yeah, they're the team to watch for this off season. I know the Bulls are looking at stuff as well. So there's a few of the Eastern Conference teams are looking at making some moves, so we could add that to talk about.
Well, the off season's always interesting for the Lakers, isn't it?
Well, anytime that you can make trades or do stuff seem to be, especially with LeBron, he's your official GM.
I did see ESPN talking about LeBron going to Warriors for Jordan Poole, Kuminga, and someone else. And I really don't see that. It's like they just make it up. They make it up as they go along.
They go on a trade machine. If it says yes, they do it. So playing at too much NBA too.
Pretty much.
But yeah. So let's hope it's a Denver versus Miami sooner rather than later. I don't want to be dragging on and doing another podcast with the games or the series still in balance. And I certainly don't want to do one because I hate them just as much. I hate the Cowgirls and the Mets and any other rival team in Philadelphia. I do not want to see the Celtics in the finals. So yes, we'll end it there. We will say goodbye to everyone that's watching, all 60 people that's so far watching our pod. So we appreciate it.
All 60 people. If you get this far, if you get past the intro.
Yes, then we appreciate it. Then we'll do it, and we will try and get it on a platform where we can, so you can listen to it in the car rather than trying to watch it on a screen. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.